and welcome to Machtails Live from the Cantina. We are actually in the Cantina. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I'm a nervous wreck. I have not felt this much anxiety when it comes to performing in front of an audience, which is weird because you can see me, but I can't see you. It brings me back to my psychedelic jam rock days. But the thing was, you couldn't have a drink before you played because one drink would lead to another. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to make a drink. If you had told me last year that there was going to be a pandemic and I was going to be doing a live show that people were going to watch around my Star Wars collection, I think you would have been more drunk than Sutton at the Cantina bar. I don't have a teleprompter tonight. I got a lot of notes in front of me. But I do have a good show for you guys. And I want to thank the Patreon members. Thank you again for supporting what I do. You've really lit a new spark for the new year, and I could not do this without you. So, okay, before I make a drink, I'm going to pick a word here. We did not include this on the last episode of Machtails because it just skipped my mind. Every time you hear this word, drink until you're warm enough where you don't even want to go inside the belly of a tauntaun. Tonight's word is rogue. Rogue as in Rogue One. If we had a word for the last episode, 21, it would have been Steel Panther. We take a lot of ideas from Watch What Happens Live, Andy Cohen's show on Bravo. They do a lot of fun. They do a lot of games. Speaking about games, your Patreon members, your names are in here. Doing a prize tonight. I'm going to start with Old Fashioned. This is Bullet. Bullet is like the first bourbon that I was introduced to before I got on this crazy old-fashioned kick. And it's solid. It's not the best, not the worst, but it's solid. I've drank it on the show. I got a rocks glass here. It's dipped in Cubby Red and Cubby Blue. It's a Maker's Mark promo. This here is a Stormtrooper ice cube from Williams-Sonoma. You have to use that ice cube is almost as big as the glass. You really have to use a big ice cube because the little ones melt so much. This show is live now, mind you. There's no do-overs. I'm reminding myself, by the way. Okay. So you fill it up. I had one of these last night. There's a lot of recipes out there. This is the way I make mine. I think this is maybe the Wisconsin recipe. So this is a tangerine. It's a little cutie. And this is a fruit salad in a glass. And this is a lot of work. And don't worry, man. I'm going to get to the Star Wars stuff. But it's cocktail time first. So, and real quick. Okay, so I got a lemon squeezer. And you got to watch out. This stuff gets everywhere. It's like sand. And you squeeze a whole tangerine in there. See, I'm scoring it all over the place now. Making a mess already because I haven't had a drink yet. All right. Then you take part of the tangerine, put it in there. I was going to make some blue milk, but I didn't feel like doing shots tonight. Simple syrup. A little bitters. Not Worcestershire. Bitters, mind you. And you got to use the Luxardo cherries. There is no substitute for these. And some cherry juice. And last but not least, we're going to use a lemon twist. My buddy Michael Wistock was on the last episode, which I hope you guys are enjoying. And he was talking about some cocktails from Stooky's in San Francisco, and he was telling about all the work that he had to do. So I don't think he's got to do as much work with the cocktail that was shipped to his house than this one here. Cheers, everybody. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for joining me. Speaking about the last episode, Tyler Page and Brian Klein of the Babu Freaks, they were on the episode along with Michael Wistock. I have to remind you, they are courtesy of Jimmy Mack and Rebel Force Radio. They do not belong to me. They're guests on my show. When I talked to Jimmy the other day, I said, hey, do you mind if the Freaks are on the show? And he said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He said, just give me a shout out. So he's given me shout outs enough over the years, and I wanted to give him a shout out tonight. And I got some advice from him, and I got some advice from Tyler, saying that, man, your Patreon stuff, it's got a lot of content, too much content. But you know what? I'm so thankful that you guys jumped on board. I figured I want to keep you guys around as long as I can. So why not offer you everything that I have to offer? And if I'm on fire right now, you know, let the flame burn, man. Let the flame burn. So again, check out Patreon. There's a lot of different options. We're in the Whopper Cave. I got some questions from the Patreon backers. And I'm going to start with one here. So Wistock, you guys are lucky that Wistock's not the drinking word of the evening. Wistock asked, what is the one item that you would take from your collection if there was a fire in your house? And he said, the family comes first. He had to remind me that. No. He did. He said, get your family out. I would have my family helping me out, get all the stuff out. But one thing that is irreplaceable, one thing that, and there's a story behind this. The one thing that is irreplaceable in my collection is this Carrie Fisher autograph. Now, me and my sister had briefly talked about when we had the opportunity to meet her down in Orlando. It was in 2000. 2000. Star Wars used to do these Star Wars weekend events. And it was really cool because it was like a convention. And they didn't sell booze at the time, which was a little bit of a like, hey, I want to walk around with a drink in my hand. But anyways, that's besides the point. We went out the night before, a little too late. We're like, it's Disney. They're not going to let people sleep outside. You know, it'll be orderly fashion, that sort of thing. Well, we found out that people were sleeping out for Carrie Fisher starting at like 2 a.m. When we were in our hotel room, the line had already formed. They cut the line off. This is one of Carrie's earliest convention appearances before she started really being a somewhat regular. And they cut the line off, and we were like, 50 peoples after the cutoff. So pissed, went down there for that. So a friend of mine that was in the autograph collecting scene, he got this for me. And the funny thing is, I never met Carrie in person. I never did. But it says, to Christian, and my name is spelled without the H, but she had already put the H, and she just crossed it off. And I'm like, that is something that Carrie Fisher would totally do. I would definitely take this with me. Out of all the items I have, this is the thing that comes to mind just because it's irreplaceable. You could buy a Carrie Fisher autograph online. I've purchased autographs without meeting the people. But there's a personal story to this one. So hope you guys enjoy hearing that story. That was from Michael Wistock. Next question is from. So we're gonna go Boston Dan. We're gonna go Boston Dan. Boston Dan. We call Boston Dan because he's from Boston and he's a Red Sox fan. And he used to give me. He put up with a lot of my negative comments about the Red Sox. So he says, anything out there that you feel like collecting now? Anything worth collecting? I got to tell you, the best quote that I ever heard anybody say about collecting was from Steven Sansweet back in 2002. when Attack of the Clones had come out, there was all this Star Wars stuff for Phantom Menace. And he was doing a talk at FAO Schwartz. He said, you need to collect what you're into. And obviously my focus is big, but after hearing him say you have to collect only what you're into, you don't want to just buy a bunch of stuff. Because I did that back when Phantom Menace came out. And I am selling so much stuff right now. It's unbelievable. Just simply because it doesn't really mean anything to me. And there's only so much room. I mean, you guys can't see what's in front of me, but there's not room for anything else. And I'm not really a guy that rotates the cases. So what I am collecting, though, to answer your question, is anything vintage. I'm a big eBay guy. Some things that I just got outbid on was a vintage Slave 1, vintage X-Wing. And I collect all the vintage stuff in the original boxes. I don't collect anything loose. I don't collect them sealed either because I want to take them out. All this stuff behind me, 99% of it, it's not sealed and you can take it out. One thing I did not win was the R2-D2 remote control that I showed on Machtails for me at Christmas in '81. I do not have that in my collection. I am big into the tikis. My buddy Brian Klein picked this up for me because he had a ticket to the canceled celebration. And the tiki stuff is cool because it's cocktail related. And I've been to Hawaii. It's like my third home. So many times. To answer Dan's question a little bit more is the thing that I really do collect a lot of is the holiday stuff. I have 99% of the Star Wars Christmas stuff that had come out. This is a good question. The third part of this question is, did I ever catalog everything? Like make a spreadsheet. I tell you, back in 2002, I was living at my grandma's place, and I had stuff in her storage, and the sewer pipe broke, and everything was covered in shit. It was disgusting. I mean, you could see, it was gross. I don't even want to tell you what I saw. But I did not, I had to catalog everything after the fact. I used Stephen Sansweet's book, the blue book that came out, I think in '97. It was blue or green, I forget the name of it. But I used that and Brian's Toys. Brian's Toys overpriced everything. So the cool thing about that was the insurance company gave me a check to replace all that stuff. I went back and replaced a lot of the stuff that I had and some of it that I didn't, but I stopped. I never completed it. So vintage stuff and Rogue One stuff. Everybody take a drink. I just said Rogue One. Those are the things that I am really chasing down right now. Okay, that's Boston Dan. And you guys got to be present to win too. And this is like a one and done live stream. It's not going to be posted around a lot. I'm going to send it to the Patreon members. They can have this as a perk. But it won't be available to anybody else. Okay, Ian Savage says, the one thing that I own that is kind of silly, that didn't make it into the display case, and every time I look at it, I kind of say, oh man, why do I have this? Well, I have these things. They're Happy Meals. These are Happy Meal boxes. From Taco Bell, special edition that came out. This is cardboard. The cool thing is that Star Wars never did a Happy Meal. And they never really did a Happy Meal after this. This kind of reminds me of the vintage McDonald's Happy Meal boxes. And these are kind of silly to have. I never kept them in the case. But one thing that I did keep in the case was I have a lot of filler. I feel like I'm tending bar right now. So all those Happy Meals came with these guys here, these Boba Fett's. And I know you guys are posting stuff. I'm not really reading it because I feel like I'm on a roll here. And thank everybody that submitted their questions early. So this is Boba Fett coming out of the Sarlacc pit. You can't see him. But anyways, he's magnetic. He balances on it. I have a lot of crazy cheap tchotchkes. This came with the Happy Meal that fill the case. As you can see behind me, there's so many different. There's a lot of space left after you put the boxes in there. All right. So thank you, Ian. Thank you, Boston Dan, for that. What else we got? Okay, Jeff Ellis says, in the last 2 to 5 years, how has my collecting changed? Well, I really toned down my collecting, even though I buy stuff. I probably buy one item every 2 months. And 5 years ago, I wasn't really collecting anything. I've always collected the convention exclusives, like this little plant potter and this guy here. These are from Celebration Chicago. So I'm a big convention exclusive guy because you really can't get those. You really can't get those anywhere else. And this is one of my favorites. So this is, I'm sure you guys heard this before. And they made a couple versions of this, but this one is from Celebration Europe. We're getting hit right now, which is crazy because right now, not only because of COVID, you can't go out drinking anywhere. So it's kind of cool that I'm in my Whopper Cave doing this for you guys, because right now, by tomorrow, I think it's supposed to be like a foot of snow come 2 o'clock, which is crazy. My focus again, it's a lot of Rogue One stuff. I got about 2 shelves in the karaoke cabinet over there. I'll get into that on an episode of Inside the Whopper Cave. I do have some Mandalorian things as well. I didn't go crazy. I'm not really an action figure guy. I know my buddy Tyler is. He's obsessed with action figures. I love them, but there's only room for so much of that, and it's a rabbit hole, right? It's like once you start down, you can't get out of it. I can show you guys something here. Speaking about action figures, I don't know if you can see this. I bought this case online. This is like the last, how many is it? 17, maybe? The last 17 it was. These guys actually did not count as that last set. It's missing Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper disguise because I have him on a card that I wanted to open up because I have all my figures loose. I had some vintage carded figures when that flood hit my grandma's place. And no, I don't have anything from my childhood. And this Luke Skywalker I had on the card was a tri-logo Luke. And I got him from some guy that was getting married back in 92. And I bought like the blue snaggletooth, yak face, vintage tri-logo carded Stormtrooper Luke for like $100. It was silly how much I bought it for. It was so cheap. And the card had a little bit of water damage on it, but I knew what that water was contaminated with. So I got the check from the insurance company. I gave him that piece, and I finally bought the Luke carded Stormtrooper. That's why in the real fans of the saga, I say it's the last figure that I need. It's kind of like the last figure that I needed to get all over again, So anyways, speaking about action figures. So now I mentioned on the Whopper Cave that the thing is, I get on Zoom with my buddies, get on Zoom with you guys, and you guys start playing, Price is Right, Star Wars style with vintage ads, and then I start, after a couple of cocktails, I start bringing everything up, and it becomes a mess. So at least right now, the mess is contained right down here. I am selling a lot of my stuff, but I'm keeping half of it. The interesting thing is, my wife, we had this conversation about, like, I tell her, when I pass away, I don't want you to have a fire sale. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to, and I'm sure there's a lot of buyers out there, right? You guys are going to contact my wife, say, hey, I'll give you $100 for all this Star Wars stuff. Here you go, sold. So I have to have I have to live longer than my wife in order for me to take care of my stuff. But I tell you, my daughter, I think, is going to keep some of this. So I do want to share this with you on Machtails. If you're a Patreon member too, these are beautiful. These were created by Barry Harmon, another Babu freak. These are the new coasters and the new bottle openers. Oh. All right, my next question. David Gladding. I'm really happy because, as you know, we have a trifecta on Machtails. It's music, baseball, and Star Wars. Star Wars is number one. But my other two passions, they balance out my hobby of Star Wars, I guess. I can't really... Music and baseball have been a part of my life for so long, especially music, that it's impossible to not bring those up. He asks, any band live, past and present, past or present, any band live I would see. Top 5 bands: Monster Magnet, Rage Against the Machine, The Helicopters, Jefferson Airplane. I've seen all those bands, incarnations of them, side projects. My 5th favorite of all time is Jimi Hendrix. I would love to see Jimi Hendrix at his 10 o'clock in the morning slot when he played Woodstock, and like 90% of the people went home, which I've always wondered that. I'm like, wait a minute, where do these homeless hippies have to go? No, they weren't homeless hippies. But it's like, well, why did you want to leave when Hendrix was going to take the stage, Not my favorite set, definitely one of my top favorite artists. And Woodstock, I would love to take a time machine and go back there. I'm a big fan of the Fillmore, but the Fillmore still exists in San Francisco. I know Jeff lives out there. I'm sure you've seen a show or two out there as well. David also asks, what's missing from the collection? Missing from the collection, 2 pieces that I never had as a kid, never had them before the flooded grandmas. The Sears Cloud City playset. The Cloud City playset. I remember seeing that thing on eBay for like $150 to $200. About 15 to 17 years ago, going, oh, that's too much. Now it's like $400 to $500. So it's actually doubled in price. I don't have that. I really want that. It's got to be in the box. No reproduction. I don't do any repros on the vintage stuff either. And a friend of mine that I grew up with, he had this. I never did. Is the Jawa Sandcrawler. That only was released in a Star Wars box. They never did an Empire Strikes Back box for that. And last but not least, he asks, what new project am I excited about coming out on Disney Plus? I'm super stoked about Obi-Wan, and I just heard that Liam Neeson's going to join the show. I'm hoping they're going to do some really cool flashback stuff with that. Andor, of course. My friend John, that lives in Scotland, he works in the film business, and he sends me like monthly updates on his experience working on Andor. And I'm thinking, because I have some cool screen used pieces from him, which I'll grab one of these. I got two of these. If you Google episode 1 senator costumes, this thing is made of metal. There's a couple photos that I've found online of buttons. So they on their gown they went like this, right? And John was a producer on The Force Within Us. And when I had dinner with him out in Orlando during Celebration, he gave me 2 of these along with a call sheet from Duel of the Fates, you know? And a call sheet is essentially in the business. Well, we have that. It's a production schedule. It's like this happens here, this happens here. It's not necessarily a script. It's more of a schedule for the people involved to follow. And I have that in a frame, and I don't know where that is. I don't know. It's down here somewhere. I could probably take 10 minutes to do that, but this is a live show, mind you. This is a mind show, a live show. All right, so David, thank you for that. Thank you for bringing up a music question there, and thank you guys for just allowing me to talk about music and baseball. I know you guys are all Star Wars fanatics. The superfecta is if you drink and love those 3 things, then I know you're a super fan of this show for sure. Okay. Speaking about baseball, this one is going to be way, way too hard for me to answer. My friend Andy, that's getting married down in Miami on February 13th. He's a big baseball friend of mine. He played baseball back in the day. And he asked, what is my all-time lineup 1 through 10. I can't answer that, man. I thought about that for so long, and then I narrowed it down to just Rays and Cubs because those are the teams that I really, really follow and I'm really knowledgeable about, especially from 2008 until last year. Man, you take, I don't know. I can't answer that, man. I cannot answer that, even though I have written some things down. It's just, Javi Baez is on there, Rosarena. Zambrano is the pitcher that can hit. G-Man Choi, Chris Bryant, Ben Zobrist, Schwarber, Kevin Kiermaier just for his defense. And I am not a fantasy sports guy. And that question to me is a little bit more like who would be on your dream team. That's way too hard for me to answer. Now I will show you 2 things that I do want to share a couple more things with you that I bought recently. Okay, there's a drinking game. This is from Rogue One. It should say Rogue One on there. Said it twice, so take 2 drinks. But they got the Trooper. It's got the Rogue One logo on there, and to me, this is a triple, right? It's got the vintage box, and I so want to open it, but I'm like, oh man, I need to open it, right? I need to have more than one, and I only have one of these. The Trooper's got to go on the wall in the case, and I do have some figures on the wall. It's got the vintage look, and it's never been released before. They've never released something like that before. So something else. Hopefully my wife is not upstairs watching this because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I have to smuggle in some of the goods that I pick up. She doesn't want me to buy any more stuff because I'm surrounded by it. This has nothing to do with Star Wars, but this is very retro, and it works. I took it out. It lights up. It talks. Jeffrey doesn't talk. But the cool thing is I got a small Toys R Us collection going. It's got Gigi and Baby Gee, and those are very short-lived Toys R Us mascots is what I'll call them. So I'm still buying stuff. You know what? I'm actually going to do something right now. I I just bought this. I just bought this on eBay. See, it's a thing. I like too many things, so it starts taking up space in the collection. But so now we've turned this into an unboxing event. See if I can get this open easily. I got the knife here from the old-fashioned. It's funny, it is killing me that there's no music playing right now, but it's too much of a hassle to keep it going. That is my kryptonite. When I'm talking and having some drinks, once the music goes off, I'm so like, oh my God, I'm drowning out here. Oh, I got all this popcorn in here. So, there's popcorn all over the floor now. Now this item, I have some pieces, not a lot. And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but this one, I just got this. This I never had as a kid. This is vintage. No, it's not a pressure cooker. It's not a pressure cooker. It smells vintage. It's complete. I just thought because the Muppet Show is being released on Disney Plus, this is something cool to add to my small Muppet Show collection. And it'll be fun to play with my daughter. So I'm not going to open that up, though, right now. All right. I am going to me, this is a little unprofessional that I'm doing. I hate to use that word, unprofessional. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. Yes, whoever did suggest this to me on on Facebook, yes, I followed that link and I made them an offer, and that was something that I could not pass on, All right, I want to make sure that I got everybody's questions answered. So now that's the thing too. I'm a one-man operation. I did the lighting, I did the audio, even though it's mediocre. I did the writing, the ideas. You guys submitted the questions. I hope you guys enjoyed the answers. But the thing is that it's a lot of work doing this stuff. It's so much fun, and it makes it worth it. And I'm going to do this live show once a month. I can't have the anxiety that I felt before I did this. Tonight I can't do that more than once a month. No way. Show you guys a couple cool items here. So, a couple more items. You guys are getting like 12 episodes of the Whopper Cave here in one evening. This is cool. This is a poster from the Empire. Fold out. It's got the pinholes in there. It was on somebody's wall. I can't tell you where I got this from because I just don't remember. So I'm assuming it came. Oh God, man, I don't know what. It's got that information on there. But the thing I love about this item, there's not a lot of Empire Strikes Back items. This is the only one I have in my collection that's got the date on there. May 21st, my wife's birthday. No, she was not born in 1980, even though she likes to tell people she was. Convention exclusives. I'm somewhat of a Lego guy. I'm not a Lego completist by any means. I flipped a lot of that stuff, especially that I bought from the Phantom Menace. Saw that stuff way back when. But this is a Chicago exclusive. That's where they got the Target logo on there because they were limited at Target as well. And I want to open this so bad, but on eBay it's like over $100, So that's the thing. You have to, if you want to open a Lego, you have to say, okay, is it worth the $100 in my pocket, or are the memories putting this thing together with my daughter. Priceless. This one too. You guys know I thought Plo Koon was cool before Dave Filoni said he was. Been a big fan of his since May of '99. And this is a Starfighter. And again, this thing on eBay is like $100. And then, man, do I open it? It's hard, right? Any comments on that? Any comments? All right. Speaking about goodies, I'm going to draw a name. I got a lot of stuff to put away now. See, I thought I was making progress down here in the Whopper Cave. I could show you guys stuff all week long. We could just do like a live stream for a week. Show you everything I have. All right. These are all the patron backer names. I know you guys are doing your Lando Calrissian voices right now. And this is a tin. I love it because it's called a space trunk. Space trunk. And this is vintage. And again, I don't have anything from when I was a kid. So, okay. Patreon names are in here. And you guys have no idea who this is. Boston Dan. Boston Dan won something. And I got something cool for you, man. I got something cool for you. It's Lemmy Trooper related, and I promise you, your Lemmy Trooper patch is in transit. It's a little later than I thought. But, all right, Boston Dan, congratulations. You guys didn't even know there was a contest tonight. So that is it, man. That is it. I want to thank you guys for joining me on my first live stream. Any questions? Any questions? Any comments? They can't be technical related because I am just not that kind of person. So, okay. All right, guys. Hey, remember, on Patreon, we have a lot of cool swag. You can be a producer of the show. You can be a producer of the show. Whopper Cave Weekly. I got a From the Vault segment. I take a lot of the footage, photos, and artifacts from all the films that I worked on, and I share stories about those. There's a weekly podcast that's only 20 minutes long, and we're going to be doing this live show where you guys can participate, and I'm going to draw a name every month that you guys join me, and you got to be present to win, and Boston Dan was present, so I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Be safe, stay warm, love one another, but keep socially distant. And we will see you next time on Machtails from the Cantina. So long, everybody.